from the still city of Sheffield. Time to meet the players. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, would you please welcome a World Championship semi-finalist, the winner of 7 PDC titles, and ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Masters. It's Hollywood. World Cup champion and the former champion of the world, the Iceman, Gerwyn.
Isn't he? One spot in the semi-finals is still up for grabs. Gerwyn Price up for it tonight, it seems. He is headed to the O2 for just the second time in his career. 3 night wins to his name this season. His last weekly title coming 4 weeks ago in Liverpool, where he was brilliant. Not been quite as good since then, to be honest with you, but he has made a couple of semi-finals across the last 3 weeks, and you just wonder if he will want to make a big statement ahead of finals night. Dobey, meanwhile, on his Premier League return, probably not gone how he would have liked. Put in some big averages in recent weeks, but you feel it's all come a little bit too late. 6th in the table. Did, of course, get to celebrate a nightly victory. That was when he won the night in Rotterdam back on week 11. For our last quarter-final tonight, then, let's head to commentary and join Glenn Durrant and Rod Studd.
Thank you, Emma. Yes, Dobey's 6th place finish is a spot above his effort in 2023, and he's going to have more points than 2023 too. He had 14, then he's already got 15, but defeats by Cross and Bunting in their first 2 matches mean that Dobey will finish 6th. But I'll tell you what, Gerwyn Price has got a lot on this game. If he gets beat here, he'll finish below Aspinall, and that will consign him to a semi-final darting date with Littler. If he wins this game, he can book a ticket with Luke Humphries at the O2. You talk about frying pans and fires. Let's see what a man with a PhD in dartology has got to say on the matter. It's Dr. Glenn Durrant.
Yeah, good evening, Rod. And one thing I would say, I don't think Gerwyn Price really cares who he plays next week. For me, he's seen in particular by Dobey, who's a huge fan of Gerwyn Price, that he is the ultimate competitor. And if he was to lose this game, then playing Luke Littler in the semi-final next week would not faze that man.
Who would you rather play, Littler or Humphries?
Wow, that's a real question. I think right now, I think I would rather play Luke Humphries, but he has this incredible record, and maybe if I was Gerwyn Price and that motivation, that fire in the belly that gets him going, he's got that really good record with Littler. Maybe I'm wrong, and Price would probably answer, gimme Littler.
Well, the top former rugby league coach Brian Noble once told me, it's my job as a coach to give the players a reason to play. In darts, you've got to give yourself a reason to play. And whatever reason Gerwyn Price finds to play here will be the one that he works on. He wants double 16, double 8, a semi-snarl, a semi-snarl as John Park might call it. And Chris Dobey a long way back.
Yeah, not his favoured side of the board. It's given an opportunity for Chris Dobey, who could take this for a magic 164.
39. Going to Price 60. Game shot.
The faffing ends and Gerwyn Price takes the opener.
Just caress that dart. Watch this as it goes in. They're using that first dart like every dart player should do. And the superstar, a good opportunity there for Dobey, just missing out. Price takes the opener.
And Gerwyn Price, runner-up in the Premier League just a couple of years ago when he went to finals night as the favourite, reached the final but was run down by a rampant Michael van Gerwen. When Van Gerwen was in his absolute Premier League pomp. He will not be at the O2 this year. Defeat to Nathan Aspinall means Van Gerwen misses out on the playoffs. It will be Aspinall, it will be Price, and of course it'll be Humphries and Littler.
It's that incredible head-to-head between these two. It was a brilliant win for Chris Dobey in the quarter-final at the World Championships at Alexander Palace this year, but barring that, Gerwyn Price has pretty much dominated the head-to-head between these two.
And that was from 2 sets to 0 down, Glenn, as you no doubt recall, and as Chris Dobey recalls, he won 5 sets to 3. As Price missed an incredible 42, yes, 42 darts and a double in that contest. Incredible match at the Alexandra Palace.
Perfect market if this treble 19 goes in. It does. What a player! He is so good at number 1, the bullseye, and with last dart in hand, there's no better player in the world of darts. The champagne finish.
Was it ever? And whatever reason Gerwyn Price has found to play here, it's working. The Iceman red hot early on in the piece.
What a camera angle, the precision. Let me tell you, if there's any player who you'd want to hit a bullseye with a last dart, then it is Gerwyn Price. I didn't think he looked 100% focused last week before he proved. He showed what he's all about. That fire, that determination is in the eyes tonight.
Was that before, during or after the 9-dart leg?
Certainly before and after it as well, so maybe just for that small moment.
He's very much the 9-dart king in the Premier League.
He's got so much bottle. He really has a fierce competitor. I used to love standing behind in the roar and everything.
Well, here's something of a mystery and something of a good quiz question, which I think a lot of people get wrong. Price versus Dobey here, 3rd v 6th in the tables they started, but which player is higher in the world rankings? Glenn knows. I know you know. I know you know, Glenn.
He tells me every day, does Chris Dobey.
7th Dobey, Price 11th. Are there really 10 players better than Gerwyn Price in the world of darts? Really?
57.
Fantastic camera angle. I was hoping that was going to go into Chris. But this man is on a mission. He looks focused. The determination is there. And the accuracy to boot. 3-0 Price.
That's the 4th time they've met in the Premier League this year. Price has 2 wins to Dobey's 1, and that one came in the very first match of the competition, the very first match they played, when Dobey won 6-4 in Belfast.
87.
Look, Rod, you've watched so many Premier League games in your career.
100.
But the numbers these players are producing in 2025 has been a real highlight for me. And once again, Gerwyn Price on the back of that incredible Luke Littler opening game. Yes, it's only 3 legs played, but averaging over 113. Can he maintain?
They're all running faster, they're all throwing further, they're all jumping higher in the Premier League. Gerwyn Price is stretching his legs here, putting some daylight between himself and the Geordie. Doesn't need to go for this. Doesn't need to. Who cares what he needs to do? It's what he wants to do.
Clear indicate that he is feeling mighty fine right now. For the maximum, he still feel he won't come back the way Price is playing. He'll go his trusted one for double 12 for a 4-0 lead. Last dart in hand.
Red-hot Iceman here in the Steel City. He was the sharpshooter in Sheffield in 2022 under this format. Looking to win again in the Steel City.
Any dart player will tell you when you've got that last dart in your hand, that's when that tension can just feel a little bit different. We're over 44% in this Premier League campaign. Every time he's had that opportunity, almost 50-50 chance. That's what that man is all about. And he's getting better.
140.
Well, we know he's at the O2. We know he will play either Humphreys or Littler. How much of a threat is he next week, Glenn Durrant?
Well, just chatting with people in the players and the press room, they fancy. People really fancy Gerwyn Price because, for the fear of repeating myself, he is that ultimate competitor. Can Dobey get back into this game? Doesn't need to go for the ball.
They're all at it now. Remember, Chris Dobey will finish 6th regardless. He can do what he likes up there, so perhaps a little bit of showboating on the bullseye, but he can do that, and he can finish that.
Can he dart, bonny lad? Perfect first dart for Chris Dobey. You could hear the way it just caressed that first dart, and this time the luck is against him as it goes into the treble one. Advantage Price.
In every sense, a 3-leg lead, and the edge in the 6th as well.
Beautiful, outstanding. Needs a little bit of fight, a little bit of tenacity. Probably could be his last game on the Premier League. He just wants to remind people why he was invited this year. He feels that the damage was done from week 3 onwards. He feels he's playing really well right now.
And I wonder, Glenn,
a bit more consistency.
I wonder, Glenn, and you would know better than me, you know Chris better than anyone on the darts circuit. How much of these last couple of weeks are very much a job application for the Premier League in 2026 for some of the players?
That's where he wants to be, and it finishes like this, which he really needs. He's not going to get down to the bullseye finish. Price is lurking right behind.
Tops it is to put another dart in the double 10 and another leg on the board. Can't find it this time, so half a chance, or better than half a chance for Dobey to trim the lead to 2.
Averaging over 104 himself is Chris. That's a slack first dart, meaning he's been here before without success.
47. Gerwyn required 10.
5-1 on double 5. Dobey's had a decent little period in the Premier League, particularly last week when he was runner-up in Aberdeen to Aspinall. He did win in week 11 as well in Rotterdam.
And Stephen Bunting will tell the same story. I mean, Chris Dobey has been dominated here 5-1, but he's averaged over 100 throughout this game. If you want to be an elite dart player, this is what you've got to produce week in, week out. Fill it up, Chris.
And that's the key, Glenn. Week in, week out. A 5th maximum here for Chris Dobey. Really is flowing on the red bit.
140.
He's had patches of good play, hasn't he? Bunting has too, but not enough good play often enough.
And as a player, when you're 5-1 down, you're like, where have those 180s been? But it's been the credit of Gerwyn Price, who came out so well in that first leg, and Chris had that opportunity. Since then it's been Price, but Dobey for a potential 11 dart at tops.
Double 10, and he's still in the game. Still on the tightrope.
41.
Just a little look over to the score. I mean, probably would take a break or throw you for Chris before he probably thinks I can go on and still win this game. He's a massive underdog at this stage, 5-2 down with Price with the darts. Just gone a little bit skew whiff a little bit here as Price.
51.
2 loose visits consecutively at the top of the 8th open the door for Hollywood. Crashes through it, smashes through it with a 7th maximum of the match, my word.
100.
Unbelievable precision on that treble 20 from Chris Dobey. He's fighting, he's scrapping for his life right now. He wants to showcase his talents.
7 maximums, the most in a match for Chris Dobey in the 2025 Premier League. He's had 6 on a couple of occasions and 5s as well, but this double 16 concludes a brilliant leg of darts from Dobey, and he's only 2 behind, Glenn.
Oh, incredible. 12 darter backed up with an 11 dart break and back in the treble 20. This is why you were selected, Christopher.
Whoever the PDC pick, someone will complain, and it will be interesting again, as it always is. 4 of them pick themselves by finishing in the top 4. We know that'll be the likes of Littler and Humphreys for certain, and 2 others, and then the other 4, it's up for grabs.
It's a captivating contest. Price was dominating, 5-1 up. It looked like no other scenario than a big Price win, but right now Chris Dobey is absolutely flying. Remember, a 12 darter backed up with an 11 darter, and already down to a finish after 9 darts.
81.
Well, he's going to have half a dozen at this to trim the Price lead to a solitary leg, would you believe?
If he does win this game, Rod, I think he'll be practicing on the bullseye after this. No dramas, beautiful last dart, looking good to reduce the deficit to 1.
Price looking to leave tops, can't do so, leaves 80, but that may be academia. It is, because Chris Dobey has rallied here to some tune.
Yeah, you talked about that fight back at the World Championships and 2 sets down. Could argue that this one's going to be even better in a race to 6 with Price looking majestic at 5-1 up. This has been a wonderful response from the Geordie.
95.
Dobey with a 1.25 average in the last 3 legs, and that rather explains why he's threatening to run down Gerwyn Price from 4 legs behind. But when you are on the tightrope on the brink of defeat, you cannot afford a false step. 1 false step and you're off either side, and it's good night.
100.
That last start, they'll change the strategy for Chris. He may have stayed on the 20s. On 308. It's naturally to go down to the 18s, but again, just a little bit unlucky the way that 2nd dart has bounced off the 1st and crept into the treble 1.
So far in this leg, Glenn, it's been textbook stuff from the Welshman looking for a 15 dart holder throw. He's had 12 darts to leave 101.
Sensible player. He'll stay there because another treble would leave a 2 dart finish. Exciting conclusion to this wonderful game.
Can't finish now, and so Chris Dobey will get a chance here, incredibly, from 5-1 down to level the match.
53.
Amazing scenes here.
Back of my mind, he's possibly thinking of 2 tops as well if the first one doesn't go, and smack bang in the middle. From 5-1 down, Chris Dobey takes this match to the distance. Fantastic response and a great game, and now becomes favourite.
Well, who would have thought it?
The implications are next week as well, Rod. A defeat here for Gerwyn Price would mean he finishes in 4th place, meaning that sets up that mouth-watering clash of Luke Littler versus Gerwyn Price.
Well, as we did in the early stage, you can speculate which is a preferable matchup, to play either Littler or to play Humphries, but the bottom line is it's still in his hands here.
He ain't giving up just yet. So enjoyable. Back in the treble 20 bet. He's at 7 maximums. Make that 8.
Oh, it's astonishing. It's incredible. Is this another? Well, 97 for the match. We'll play 87 for the match if the 97 is missed. It may not be, because he's got 2 at tops to come off the canvas. But he can't land the knockout blow. Gerwyn Price, 87. He's got 2 for the match. Double 9. Price has blown it now, and Chris Dobey cannot believe his luck.
What a game. What drama. What a fight back. A massive opportunity here for Chris Dobey. Looks at tops.
And Chris Dobey produces one of the fight backs of the 2025 Premier League. For much of the early stages, he looked like being blown clean out of Sheffield by the icy wind of the Iceman's darts. Gerwyn Price led 5-1. Dobey has rallied, running 5 legs straight to KO the Iceman and consign him to a match in the finals with Luke Littler. Dobey marches on. Can he get his second nightly win of the season?